Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So today this is going to be my video on my take on the astrology for February 2024. I hope everyone's had a great start to the new year. So this month of February is an interesting month. There's a huge influence of the sign Aquarius for lots of different reasons, and I'll get into that as we go through the different aspects for February. But that really struck me. And so we're really looking at unexpected things happening potentially. And it doesn't have to be unexpected bad things. But it can also, I thought, from a worldwide standpoint, I thought there could be sudden things happen, like earthquakes. And we've already got things going on right now, right? Earthquakes as well as volcanoes and lava spilling out in Iceland and all over the place. But there could be, bigger increases in that where we see these unexpected things popping out of the earth. So that's one thing that struck me about all this Aquarian energy that's around in February. But also, when we look at it from an individual standpoint, I really felt that change is in the air. So I guess if there was a statement to cover my feelings of February 2024, it is change is in the air, and it's going to be around every corner. That's what I thought for February. Okay, let's get into the astrology. So let's start off first of all with the birthdays that I think will be very much affected, especially this year. So this year we still have Pluto going into Aquarius for most of the year, but it does dip back in at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So if you've got your birthday around the 20th, 21st, or 22nd of January at any year, you're going to be more dramatically affected by the goings on of Pluto being at 0 or 1 degree or 2 degree of Aquarius or 29 degrees of Capricorn. So I'm just going to take the conjunction of Pluto on those points as opposed to the squares, the trines, and oppositions. Or if you've got something, maybe your ascendant, or you've got a conglomeration of planets, for instance, all around that 29 of Capricorn to, I would say, 3 of Aquarius, then you're going to be more affected than anybody else this year especially. So when we look at the 2nd of February, right off the bat, we have Mercury sextiling Neptune. Well, this is beautiful. This is feeling inspiration. So this is inspirational thoughts, right? The other thing it can do is bring in these opportunities to express yourself artistically. And I'm thinking in particular, those people that are involved in the arts. And I'm talking about dance, as well as music, writing music, or actually playing the music as well, is very favored around that 2nd of February. When we look at the 8th of February, which is the day before we actually have our first new moon, there's a lot of activity happening that kind of carries into the effect or the effects of the new moon, which will be in Aquarius. So what have we got? We have on the 8th of February, we've got Mars sextile Neptune. So this is inspirational action. The big one, though, on this day that will add a bit of flavor to the new moon in Aquarius is the Sun square Uranus. And this is a big one. So Sun square Uranus can make you accident prone. Certainly ego conflicts can be at the fore here. Also a desire just to break free. And again, on a sort of earth level, earthquakes could be coming around this time period, right? So I would say the beginning, that first week into the second week of February 2024. So there's a lot of wonderful inspiration to act, for instance, almost like a spiritual warrior type thing with the Mars sextile Neptune. But then there's this other side of, I want to get out of here. I don't have any patience. So I would say, especially around that new moon on the 9th of February, these sorts of feelings may come up as a general feeling amongst all of us. So just be careful not to, you're driving and all that type of thing. Those few days around that, so we'll take 7th, 8th, 9th, maybe 10th of February. If you find yourself, you're really impatient in your car, just breathe deeply and know that this will pass. Now, when we look at the next day on the 9th of February, we do have that new moon at 20 degrees of Aquarius, 40 minutes, and it will be at 2:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So here we've got the first new moon in Aquarius, right? So again, we're talking about Aquarius being setting the tone here right at the beginning of February 2024. Certainly if you've got your birthday around this time period, this is a whole new start for you. But to all my Aquarian viewers and clients, I say Happy New Year to you. This is your official start. At this new moon, we have Mercury square Jupiter. This can bring in elements of exaggeration. It can bring in taking risks when maybe you shouldn't. It also has speaking out without thinking. It's that whole foot in mouth, mouth disease. But, nicely we have Venus trine Uranus. And so this is ushering in these favorable energies for what? For love, for potentially money coming your way, for your value of yourself increasing. And then we have that continuing effect of Mars sextile Neptune and Jupiter sextile Saturn at that time. And so these are lovely energies, I would say, in terms of opportunities to change structures in our lives, opportunities to express ourselves artistically. All those types of things could be up at that new moon. Like I said, the only fly in the ointment is that continuing square with the sun squaring Uranus. So patience is what I would say is the order of the day. All right, so when we look at the 13th of February, we have that continuing Venus sextile Neptune. And this is beautiful. This can bring in, for those that are open to it, it can bring in this lovely feeling of a soulmate type energy, right? It can bring a really high level, this real compassion, almost like agape love as well, right? Where you really are in tune. It can also bring beautiful things that could manifest. And, when we talk about Neptune being in Pisces, we're talking about music, we're talking about dance, perhaps sculpture as well. So this 13th of February would be a good day to do or start initiating opportunities to express those types of things, right? Okay, so when we look at the 14th of February, which is Valentine's Day in most places, we unfortunately have Mars will be conjuncting Pluto. And so this is a big one. I might maybe instead have my celebrations for the Valentine's Day the day before when Venus sextiles Neptune, because this is really going to have a lot of us, if you have something around these degree points, and so we're talking at 0-1 degree of Aquarius, it's going to be this overriding desire to control things. The positive part of this, though, is with Mars conjunct Pluto is great strength for heavy work. So if by chance on that 14th of February or the days surrounding it, you do have to do some heavy work, or if you're really putting big energy, say, into things like exercise programs, weightlifting would be an example here that you'd be positively supported in terms of the energy that you'd be putting into it. But severe ego conflicts could be at the fore here. So in the general collective, we may have a lot of people, having these ego conflicts around this 14th of February, right? Okay, so when we go to the 17th of February, we have now Mercury will be square Uranus. And then Venus now will have this opportunity of conjuncting Pluto. And this Venus conjunct Pluto is the last sort of personal inner planet that will be conjuncting that point that I discussed in my January video, which was the Sun conjuncting Pluto first at 29 Capricorn, then right away, within hours, conjuncting Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So we're talking here about the final inner planet in February conjuncting that point and activating it. So look back to, say, the 19th, 20th, 21st of January. What came up at that time? And it might have been something that was, it could have been something internal, like an epiphany of some sort or a realization, either by you internally or from the outside world coming in. Because that, whatever happened around that time period, especially if you've got, something around those degrees to have a real effect, you have these personal planets all during the first half of February conjunct that point. And the final one, as I just mentioned, is Venus conjuncting Pluto here on the 17th of February. So I would say that Venus does represent money. It also represents love, and it represents the value of ourselves and our values. So I would say that it's almost like it's putting a final seal on something is what this is doing with this Venus. Venus can also make things seem nice. It can take the rough edges off stuff as well. So it does soften to some extent the more intense aspects of Pluto here. And it certainly can bring in this love into your life. So if you've got something around 0, 1, 2 degrees of Aquarius, this could bring in this unbelievable, intense experience of love. But it can also bring in, I would say, perhaps money, developing money. Now, if we take it out to the collective, this could be a time when we have a transformation of our money in the collective. So the currency that we use is transformed. And the transformation may come through people in power. That's Pluto, right? So you might want to mark that 17th of February, something to do with that, just generally speaking in the collective, unless you have something around those degree points. And as I mentioned, we also have on the 17th of February that Mercury square Uranus. So this is unpleasant news, or news that's jarring, that's unexpected. Didn't think that was going to happen type thing. Okay. So let's go down to the 22nd of February when we've got Venus conjuncting Mars. Now, this might be a nice day to celebrate Valentine's Day because these are the celestial lovers, right? Now, it is in Aquarius, so we're looking at more of an intellectual feeling as opposed to romantic feelings here. So this could be also a good day to have new friendships develop at this time too, right? But it could also have, if we look at the money part, unexpected money coming your way, love coming your way, as I've already mentioned, or that you feel that your value for some reason has gone up. So the next thing we have is, of course, our full moon. And the full moon in February will be in Virgo. It's going to be at 5 degrees of Virgo, 23 minutes at 4:31 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's on the 24th of February. So Virgo, this is a wrap up for you of some sort. It is a big spotlight being shone on something. Now, when we look at Virgo, we're really talking about service for sure, right? We're talking about our health as well. Virgo also rules the area of small animals. But really, this is, to me, saying there's some kind of wrap up here with regards to maybe the service that you've been giving. Virgos are hard workers as well. So I would say that this is, for some folks that have something around that 5 degree of Virgo mark, this could be an ending of some kind of service project, for instance. Maybe you've been volunteering to do some things that you now say, okay, I'm going to close the door on that. At its best, because this is still at the beginning of the year, and for those folks that do make New Year's resolutions, this could be a time period where you say, I've got to take better care of my health. And certainly this would be a good time to realize that you've got to make changes here. For others, it may actually be an external event. Maybe someone externally says, you go in for your checkup and they say, you need to take better care of your health. Your triglycerides are off a little bit here, but if you start doing this with your diet, you'll be fine. You gained a little bit too much weight. Maybe just start cutting back a bit on some of the things that put weight on for you. So just doing this new exercise program may come into view where you need to start looking at that and end an old way of doing things in those areas that I've just discussed. Okay, so some of the aspects around this full moon in Virgo are Venus will still be conjuncting Mars in Aquarius. I just spoke about that. But interesting, the North Node is going to be conjunct Chiron. So to me, this really does tie in nicely with the whole health aspect that I mentioned. Chiron is or can be to do with our health and also where we're wounded too. And the North Node says this is an opportunity here for you to change the trajectory of your destiny with regards to where you're wounded or your health matters. We're going to have Venus as well as Saturn will be conjuncting the Sun. And then that aspect in turn is going to be opposing the full moon itself in Virgo. So this might just be a reality check. And again, I think this goes back to the reality check of the full moon. Maybe I've just been giving too much here and I need to have a reality check with regards to what I'm doing. For others, it may be a reality check with regards to the love in your life, a reality check with regards to how much money I've been spending. Maybe over the Christmas holidays, those credit card bills are going to start coming in and you realize you've got to really start taking care of how you spend your money. And that would be a good way to positively use the effects of the full moon here too, right? Nicely, though, we have Jupiter sextiling Saturn. And so this is beautiful too. So whatever it is that's come to light for you at this full moon in Virgo, here comes Jupiter to say, I'm going to give you the opportunity here to positively change the structures that you've got around you, to get real, but I'm going to help you get real. So it's like Jupiter could be an advisor. It could be a teacher too. Say you decide you want to change up how you eat. So this could be consulting a nutritionist. It could be consulting maybe somebody who's a trainer to help you exercise better and lose the weight that you want to lose. Positive ways of using that full moon in Virgo. Certainly, I've come to the conclusion, I don't usually do New Year's resolutions, but I have made one this year. I had a number of things happen with regards to communications from people, to people, that sort of thing. That happened to me around that whole Mercury at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. I know I had mentioned to one of my videos that does conjunct my own Mercury. And so, yes, I did have a number of things happen that woke me up, woke my head up, my thoughts up, to say that I have not been nurturing myself and really taking care of me and putting myself as number one. For over 40 years, I started looking back and realizing how much I had given to so many. And really, I think a lot of it wasn't even recognized. And I guess the worst part of it is I didn't recognize that it wasn't being recognized. But it's okay. No hard feelings. But I am now going to be starting to take care of me, and me is going to be number one. I have a Cancer rising too, so anyone who's got a Cancer rising will also understand what that means. We just like to give to people and help people out, but sometimes we need to be reminded that that's not always a good thing for us. And that's what I've woken up to. All right, when we go on to the 25th of February, we have Venus now squaring Jupiter. So this could just, both these are benefics. And so they work nicely together. And even in a square, it can be positive. It could work out where we, maybe this money that we put into some, let's just say some kind of investment, doesn't look like it's going to be turning out the way we want it to. The love that we have in our life just isn't somehow working out for some reason. Maybe you inflated the actual love that was there, and now you're beginning to see that maybe I'm going to have to work at this love relationship. It doesn't mean nothing will happen. But it can also just be a very pleasant time with these two beautiful planets, even in square, that you could also benefit from love at this time as well. The other thing that you could also have happen is that money is of benefit to you. Maybe that check that you've been waiting for to come in finally comes in, or the money that you were promised from a client, they finally send you a Venmo and you get it into your account. Those positive things can happen too. I know most astrologers talk about squares as big challenges, and certainly they can be, but because these are two benefics, generally speaking, it's just going to be something that's not overridingly bad. It just may mean, I would say, more of an adjustment to do with your money, to do with love, and perhaps also the value of yourself. On the 27th of February, we have Mars now squaring Jupiter. Now, this is a little different. So this to me says there's going to be a challenge with regards to maybe doing any kind of expansion that you want to do, depending where this falls in your chart. It can also have a delay of some sort put in. Maybe you want to move forward with, say an investment, and for some reason, you just can't make it happen. Or just generally speaking, you want to move forward with something, maybe take a risk, because Jupiter can be taking risks as well, and you can't move forward. In the general collective, this can pan out as Jupiter can represent foreign people, foreign places, and Mars is energy, and there's some kind of block. And literally, this could be a blockade of some sort as well. A blockade is put in place with regards to foreign people, foreign lands. Also, this could also boil down to travel. Travel becomes difficult for some reason. I'm talking now on the collective level, around the 27th of Feb, 2024. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is actually look at your ascendants or rising signs and or your sun signs. But before I do that, I think I'd like to talk a little bit about March. Let's just talk about March. What's going to be up for March for you? Well, March is going to start the eclipse season, right? And so we're going to have our first eclipse. This will be towards the last week in March 2024. We'll have our first eclipse. It's going to be a full moon eclipse at 5 degrees of Libra. We're going to have our new moon towards the beginning of March, and that's going to be at 20 degrees of Pisces. Some difficult aspects that we're going to have is a Mars square Uranus, and the Sun will be conjunct Neptune. But I'll talk more about that in my March video. Okay, let's move on to the ascendants, rising signs, and sun signs. All right, Cancer. So Cancer, that new moon in Aquarius is going to be in your 8th house. And so we're talking about some kind of new beginning in here. You may decide that you want to start putting more money into your 401k if you work. Great way to use it. And it'll be supported for sure with those inner planets, the personal inner planets. And that would be Mercury, Mars, and Venus. And it's in that vein that we're going to have that conjunction with 0 degrees of Aquarius in your 8th house. So in some ways, this is an activation of your investments. Like I said, one of the ways to use it would be, I'm going to add more money in here to my coffers for my future 401k. It could just be for other people, you decide to invest in more things. It could be for others that you work out unique ways with regards to sharing the money that you share with other people. Maybe that's going to be you actively setting up joint bank accounts, joint investments, that type of thing could also happen here at this time. 8th house is also our psychological selves. And so there may be a unique opportunity for you at this new moon in Aquarius to work with someone in an unusual way to help heal maybe some mental issue or psychological issue that has been maybe there for a long time. So you may take up some psychological therapy. Good thing to do at this new moon, new start, right? There could be some real epiphanies that happen as a result of you working with someone in therapy for sure. For others, it might just be some new start happens with regards to maybe you get approved for a loan. You applied for a loan that you maybe didn't think you'd get, or that you get more money than you thought. You get approved for more money should you want it. That could come up at this time too. Like I said, we're going to have this activation of other inner planets. It's not going to activate this degree point of 20 degrees, but it's still going to be in Aquarius, right? So there's some activity with regards to this whole 8th house. The other thing is serious sexual relationships are aspected by the 8th house too. So there could be some very pleasant moments in February in that area of your life too. So Cancer, when we look at that full moon in Virgo, well, that forms a beautiful sextile with your sign and aspects the 3rd house. So this is very favorable for any kind of communications, any writing that you might do. Maybe you're going to wrap up some writing that you've been working hard on, and you can see into the future of you getting this published. How exciting would that be? The other thing is it could be short journeys come up as something that you're going to have to do. Maybe some job opportunity comes up where they say, you've got to go collect pieces of information from different institutions, and you're going to have to travel short distances to do that. But these are positive things for you, not negative things, right? For others, it may be that you're going to be in contact more with your siblings for some reason, or that you just get opportunities to interact with your siblings and or your neighbors a lot more too. But like I said, it could be for some Cancers, you get this wrap up of this writing project or wrap up of collecting information. That's really positive for you. The 3rd house is also things like sales and commerce. So maybe you're going to be signing a deal with regards to working with somebody in a sales and commerce way, and it gets wrapped up at this full moon. Virgo is all about service. So this, say, sales and commerce type initiative could have something to do with a service of some sort, could have something to do with health, because Virgo also rules health too. All right, Cancer, take care of yourself. Okay, so that's my wrap up of February 2024. I'm really looking forward to this year. I think it's a year of really, I think, lots of new initiatives, some of them coming in unexpectedly for all of us, and just, I think, a better outlook for, really expressing who we are, what we want to do, and getting opportunities to do it this year. I feel that very strongly. So look, everybody, take care of yourself. I'm sending everybody a lot of love. And yeah, February is going to be pretty exciting, I think. So enjoy February, and we'll talk to you next month in March. Bye for now. Hi, everyone. It's Elizabeth here from Alpus Astrology. I'd like just to give you a little more detail about what I do with regards to the services I can offer you. Certainly, I suggest that if you've not had your chart ever done, this would be a good time to do it. Contact me. All my contact details are below, and we can talk to each other back and forth and arrange something for you. So I offer different services. I offer a full astrology report for 2 of my services. One is where I look at both your natal chart and your progress chart in detail. I accompany that with a physical chart, as well as your charts that I'm looking at for that year. I do what's called a transit chart, which really involves your progressed chart for that year in combination with your natal chart. I give you a report for that as well. Typically, I'd be updating an existing report for you. I have a lot of clients that come back to me yearly. And then the other service that I offer is a combination of taking a quick look at the astrology. Typically, it would be a year or 2 year, what stands out for me, looking at that, and then adding in at the end a tarot card reading to accompany it. I record that and send that to you pre-recorded. So that's not a live session. The other 2 that I do are live session. And then I offer, obviously, custom. I do a lot of picking marriage dates, Compatibility, I typically use what are called Davison charts or synastry as well, where I can combine two charts to see how do these two charts of these people work together. More often, it's going to be sort of romantic relationships, but it can also be business relationships too. How well do we work together type thing by producing one chart. So I do all that. As I said, I would love to do your chart. Contact me below, and we can work together to make that happen for you.